Venkatesh, and thank you for having me here. It's a very important topic that we're talking about, the role of youth in controlling NCDs. I'd like to share a few slides. They are technically just 5 slides. So, Venkatesh, would you allow me to share my screen? Should I
Sure,
go
sir.
ahead and share my screen?
Yes, sir, please.
All right, great. Thanks. Please just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Visible? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. So, as already mentioned by Venkatesh, we are going to talk about a very important topic here, that is the role of youth in controlling non-communicable diseases. When we look at the youth, we start by defining who the youth are. And if we look at our national youth policy, which was launched in 2014 from the Government of India, Ministry of Youth Affairs, they have labeled individuals aged 15 to 29 as the youth in India. And this age group constitutes around 27.5% of India's population. So it's almost a third of India's population that falls into this category. If we go to the census findings, the latest census of 2011, 563 million people, young people, the word used was young people at that time, 10 to 35 years, were there in India, which is quite a large number. So if we look at the non-communicable diseases and youth, there are certain glaring aspects that we need to understand. We need to understand that the youth is not just 1/3 of India, and it's not just a very significant population across the globe, but is also a very large portion of the global NCD burden. And because such a situation is there, we also need to appreciate that the risks young people face earlier in their life can also impact their NCD burden later in the life. And as we always mention that if we act early, we will, so early diagnosis that we usually refer to in the secondary prevention, the level of prevention that we talk about always, it is more effective if we do it in the youth so as to prevent the burden of NCDs from skyrocketing in the later years of life. It is also important to understand that 2/3 of the premature deaths in adults are associated with childhood conditions or behaviors which are initiated during the youth years. These behaviors could be something like starting smoking, or it can be regarding the lack of physical activity. It can be a number of other things too. And there are over, if we go by the numbers, there are globally over 150 million young people are smoking. Around 81% of our adolescents do not get enough physical activity. Around 12% of adolescents partake in heavy episodic drinking. And 41 million children under 5 years old are obese or overweight. So if we look at the young people, they suffer from non-communicable diseases that not only have the environmental or socioeconomic factors, but also some congenital factors in their childhood, which then affect them in the youth. So the spectrum of non-communicable diseases and youth is very broad. And a lot of these diseases, if they do not affect the youth directly, a lot of the factors that will cause NCDs, they arise during the youth period. And that's why we are thinking about how to utilize youth in controlling the non-communicable disease. The first thing that comes to my mind is like, who else can most effectively communicate to youth than the youth themselves? So let's say if there is a person going from outside the community and telling people not to smoke or do physical activity, uh, it is very less likely, like as humans, we have this tendency, unless and until we perceive something as a threat, we will not change our behavior, right? So who else can be more effective in communicating to the youth than the youth themselves, who have been in such a practice or who have brought themselves out of a practice that was affecting their behavior, behavior that was affecting their health. For example, smoking or dietary patterns or physical activity, such things. Young people are also open to learning. They're highly resourceful because of the curiosity, inquisitiveness that exists in the young people. And also they are awesome multitaskers. I put them deliberately in the single quotes because a lot of us believe that there's nothing like multitasking. We are just good at shifting tasks in an efficient manner. A lot of youth, if we see, are inherently passionate, they're inquisitive, and they are good kind of multitaskers. What we can do, like, because we have these characteristics of youth with us, we can use or utilize the youth as champion ambassadors for the government programs at the community level. Bringing into the Indian perspective, the youth can act as a strong voice for change in the community, because they are the community themselves. They are one third of the country. They are one third of the population. They can become a strong voice for change in the community. This strong voice is essential to share information about non-communicable diseases, as well as to promote awareness regarding a balanced and healthy lifestyle. So it's very likely to enforce some kind of behavior change if youth, some celebrity in the youth is coming forward with some venture, talking about yoga or talking about lifestyle modifications, talking about no to cigarette smoking or things like that. It creates an impact uh, if the youth themselves come ahead and do such activities. If we want to look at one of the examples in India where the government of India is engaging youth, is the Rashtriya Kishore Swasthya Karyakram, or as we know, RKSK, where the program's focus area is on nutrition, sexual and reproductive health, a peer educator model, which is still under testing. However, it is an initiative, an innovation, I would say, where youth is being incorporated to create the behavioral change that will prevent the non-communicable diseases in the later years of life. We have also seen that involving youth as champion ambassadors can help in the non-communicable disease prevention. Because we are incorporating this youth who are coming from the same community, we are also in a manner building trust between the communities as well as the government regarding what services the government is providing. Essentially, as the last section of my today's session, youths can act as advocates at a grassroots level, and this comes from a research done in India itself. And the researchers have found that, like, young people can hold the government accountable, because young people, they're inquisitive, they are forward, I mean straightforward. They have that enough they have enough passion to hold the government accountable regarding what kind of promises they made regarding NCD programs or NCD screening, or kind of activities that should happen in their own communities. However, to make this happen, the essential aspect remains for the youth to become translators of reliable information. So youth can hold the government accountable for its schemes, for its provisions, for the services, only if the youth themselves are translators of reliable information. And how does that happen? For that to happen, we need to understand a process that needs to follow to make that level of translation possible, that level of information with the youth available. It is only possible if they have enough knowledge and some experience with regard to non-communicable diseases. And how do you do that? We do it by incorporating the non-communicable diseases in the school and the college science curriculum, so that every student of a school as well as college is aware about what the non-communicable diseases are, what are the related risk factors. It will help youth make informed choices on healthy lifestyles. And because now they are informed and making good lifestyle decisions, they also are able now to disseminate these learnings to people around them, their own family members, their friends who are not aware about it. So people around them, basically. This would in turn promote the access to reliable information uh, to the communities regarding services that are being provided by the government, eventually leading to lowering the disease burden. So if we look at the youth as advocates at the grassroots levels, it is theoretically it is a set path. However, at multiple steps, a lot needs to be still done in order to encourage the participation of youth at the level of these policies. That is something which the seniors in the policy making have recognized and need to reinforce the need of involvement of youth in such policies. That's all from my end, Venkatesh. Thank you for having me.